It's August 11th, 2008. We're in Beijing, China for the Olympic final of the men's 4x100m freestyle relay. The fastest team event in the pool has come down to a race between these two nations. France leads the United States by just under a second as both anchor legs flip for the final 50. With less than one length of the pool to go, the objective for both swimmers here is pretty simple: get your hand on the wall first. What happens next here is difficult to describe in words. It was something so generational, so impossible, so unbelievable that even to this day, 15 years later, I still can't believe it actually happened. These next 20 seconds are the reason this race is regarded as the greatest relay of all time. To understand why, we need to take a look back. Before we dissect the end of this race, we need to know a little bit about the history of this event at the Olympics. The 400 freestyle relay first appeared in the Olympics in 1912, where at the time, it was exclusive to the women's program. This was actually the first year women were even allowed to swim at the Olympics. Good on them for ushering in the best relay race in swimming. On the men's side, it wouldn't be until the 1964 Tokyo Games that the event was added to their Olympic program. It didn't take long for it to become the most exciting team race in the sport. Fans immediately noticed closer finishes, faster swimming, and a higher level intensity surrounding the race. To their delight, the 400 free relay stuck around, and for a while, one country stood out amongst the rest. Before the 2008 Games, this race had been contested 9 times at the Olympics. The United States won 7 of those, all in a row. That's an unprecedented level of dominance in any competition, much less the Olympics. All that success was thanks to some of the greatest sprinters in American history, who also happened to be the fastest in the world at the time, which helps a little bit. What's even more impressive is that a majority of the time, no other country came within striking distance of the Americans. Whether it was by 5 seconds or a few tenths of a second, Team USA walked into every single Summer Olympics and left with a gold medal in this relay. Oh, and they also routinely lowered their own world record by multiple seconds. Man, these teams were stacked. But if we fast forward to this same relay in the 2008 Olympics, we see that the unbeatable Team USA is behind France in the final 50. By a lot. At this moment, the Americans look vulnerable and out of their depth. That's not a quality of an unbeatable team, that's just a regular team. This image right here begs the question, what happened to the nation that won 7 consecutive gold medals in this race? Despite their dynastic run through the latter half of the 20th century, the United States has had some trouble winning a gold in the new millennium. After winning gold medal number 7 in the 1996 Atlanta Games, the US suffered 2 consecutive losses in the 400 free relay at the hands of 2 very talented squads, the first of which occurred at the Sydney Games in the year 2000. Australia's new-look sprint relay team took the United States down to the wire and out-touched them for the gold medal thanks to a massive anchor leg from Ian Thorpe, who, by the way, had just won a gold medal in the 400 free less than an hour ago. This was a big deal for swimming in more ways than one. For starters, it was the first time the US had lost this relay at the Olympics in 8 tries. On top of that, Australia also broke the world record, which had been with the Americans since before this race even existed at the Olympics. This represented a power shift in this event that nobody saw coming, and the Aussies weren't the last team to take advantage of it. The next Olympic loss in this race for Team USA took place at the Athens Games in the year 2004. The Americans found themselves in a position they had never been in before, not being the defending champions in the men's 400 free relay. The mental edge of being undefeated in this event that the US had held for decades suddenly vanished, but honestly, I'm not quite sure it would have made a difference. Much like in 2000, Team USA had to face a new boss in this event that was even more powerful than the Australians. In just their 3rd ever appearance and first Olympic final, South Africa absolutely dominated the rest of the field, at one point leading the Americans by nearly 2 seconds. The quartet of Roland Schoeman, Lyndon Ferns, Darian Townsend, and Rick Neethling took the rest of the world to school by breaking the world record and winning Olympic gold. Team USA had another silver medal in hand, but it got sniped at the last second by Dutch legend Pieter van den Hoogenband after a massive 46-7 anchor leg. The United States found themselves one step lower on the podium in what was once their event, and just like in 2000, they'd have to wait another 4 years for a shot at redemption. So, after 2 more editions of the Olympics where Team USA didn't win this event, we've arrived here at the Beijing Games in 2008, where it looks very likely that the Americans might lose the 400 free relay for the 3rd time in a row. This time, it's France that looks primed to be just the 4th team ever to beat the United States in this relay at the Olympics. Historically, France had never had much success in this relay at the Olympics. In fact, they're actually the first ever team to be disqualified from the race when it was introduced back in 1964. What followed were a couple decades of low placements, missed finals, and no medals. The French were just another team in the outside lanes, or at least until 2008 when they sent in an unbelievably fast team to compete in Beijing. Such team included swimmers from the 2004 relay as well as a few new faces. Most notably, the world record holder in the 100-meter freestyle, Alain Bernard. With a much improved Amaury Laveau, Frédéric Bousquet, and Fabien Gillot, the French team entered the Olympic final as the favorite to win it all. Bernard in particular was so confident of their victory that he went to the papers and did some talking. He said about the Americans, "We're going to smash them. That's what we came here for." That's a pretty bold claim given who's on the other side. Team USA sent in an even split of battle-tested veterans and unproven rookies to contest the 400 free relay in Beijing. The weight on these guys' shoulders was as heavy as ever, and they'd have to carry it over a team that they couldn't match up with on paper. But as soon as the actual swimming started, things were looking good for the United States. In the prelims, they ended up breaking the world record without their best swimmers and earned the top seed in the championship final. Of course, this would have been a good sign for the Americans if France didn't do the exact same thing. It's not uncommon for teams to send out 2 different relays for prelims and finals, with the latter containing their best talent. That's just what both countries did, and they ended up being right next to each other for the gold medal final. The stage was set, now it's time to race.
Phelps going first.
Michael Phelps leads off for the Americans, and above him was Amaury Laveau for France. The Frenchman led Phelps going into the first turn, but thanks to his patented underwaters, Phelps opened up a 0.4 of a second lead over France after the first 100. Swimming second was Garrett Weber-Gale against Fabien Gillot. The rookie who won the 100 free at the US Olympic trials chased down Australia to lead all teams, and more importantly, further expanded the lead over France. At the halfway point, Team USA was up by just under half a second. The next American to enter the water was Cullen Jones, a prelim swimmer who earned his spot in the final after splitting faster than his teammates the day before. Right behind him was Freddy Bousquet, a 3-time Olympian for France that was primed to go really fast after splitting the all-time record of 46.63 in the prelims. There's no sugarcoating it, Jones was severely outmatched here, which hurt the Americans greatly. It didn't take long for Bousquet to regain the lead, and during the last 50, he blew it open behind another 46.63 split to give the anchor nearly a 0.6 of a second lead over Team USA. Now we've arrived at the anchor legs, Alain Bernard versus Jason Lezak. France has the lead and just gave fresh water to a world record holder capable of closing out this relay with unparalleled speed. This is a pretty scary sight to see if you're rooting for Team USA, or at least it would be if they didn't send in this guy, possibly the only guy that deserves the honor of being anchor. Jason Lezak is no stranger to closing out relays for the United States. His first gold as anchor was in the 400 medley relay at the 2002 Pan-Pacific Championships. He did the same thing again a year later at the World Championships. A year later at the 2004 Olympics, he did it again. 2005 World Championships, 2006 Pan Pacs, 2007 World Championships, you get it. Lezak has been the anchor for a while now, and it's been a pretty good investment for Team USA. Nearly every time he touched the water, his relays won. As a result, he collected gold medals at just about every major meet in either the medley or freestyle relays. But one performance in particular was missing from his astonishing career up to this point: a gold medal in the 400 freestyle relay at the Olympics. Now, Lezak was part of the relay in 2000 that placed silver to Australia, but he didn't go last. When moved to the anchor leg in 2004, the relay finished bronze. This makes him the only swimmer on this relay to have experienced both losses suffered by the United States after 1996. You have to think he's pretty fed up with not winning the gold after 2 Olympics. I mean, who would it be? After he anchored a few more relays and won gold at those other meets, he swam his way back onto Team USA in 2008 for the Beijing Games. Lezak has now entered the pool for another opportunity to anchor the 400 free relay, but he's got some work to do. He trails the 6'5" Frenchman for the entire first 50 and goes into the final turn nearly a full body length behind him after Bernard opened up the lead a little bit. Such a margin in a sprint relay is near impossible to make up. But suddenly, right after Dan Hicks proclaimed the US would take silver, Lezak starts to close the gap between him and Bernard. That brings us here. less than 25 meters from the end of the race. Lezak is slowly starting to inch up on Bernard as both swimmers make their way to the wall. For 2 consecutive Olympics, the United States has come up short in the relay they were once undefeated in. Bernard of France looks to continue that trend by beating them, but Jason Lezak isn't giving up without a fight. Will France rise above like the few nations before them and steal a 3rd gold medal away from the Americans? Does this 3-time Olympian who's been trusted to anchor finally break through to put the US back on top? Let's see for ourselves. Welcome to a moment in history.
Bernard. Can the veteran chase him down and pull off a shocker here? Well, there's no doubt that he's tightening up. Bernard is losing some ground. Here comes Lezak. Unbelievable at the end. He's done it. The U.S. has done it. He did it. He did it.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to give this video a like, and while you're down there, consider subscribing for more content like this. If you want to see some more fast swimming, check out any of these 2 videos over here. Until next time, good night, and good swim, bro.